Hello and welcome to our channel. If you like home transformations and seeing home refurbishments come to life, then this is the channel for you. In today's show, we're going to be looking at one of our recent projects in southwest London, where we've taken a small single-storey extension, enlarged it, created a fantastic kitchen, dining, living space for our clients, and a house that they can be proud of with the wow factor that they're looking for. Stay tuned to see how this one unfolds. This particular client has a growing family. They just bought a dog and they really needed that extra space for family to grow into and thrive. This client had been living in the property for a number of years. The kitchen really wasn't working for them, albeit it was a fairly decent size, but it just wasn't connected to anything else within the house. The dining table was basically caught in the middle of the property, only one small window letting light into the space. Really high ceilings. At the Victorian properties, ceilings were in excess of sort of 2.8, 2.9 meters, but the space still felt really cramped because the dining table was just set with a bench on one side. It was a kind of thoroughfare through to the kitchen, and they wanted to open up that space so that the kitchen, dining, living space created a family entertaining area where they could have guests, they could cook. So the client came to us with a budget of £180,000. Sometimes we have to manage expectations with clients' budgets, and the way that I tend to do that is to break that £180,000 down. So when you take into account VAT, that's actually £150,000 plus the VAT. Now, when that client gets a £40,000 to £50,000 kitchen with the finishes, with the light fittings, with all those FF&E items, that brings the actual construction value down to £100,000. That doesn't stretch very far nowadays. So in this particular project, we gave the client 4 options. So we've got some flat roof designs, we've got some pitch roof designs, some use crittle glazing. I can see an Oriel window in one of these designs. So the aesthetic that the client chose was this sort of 3-peak design from the rear of the property. They really like the vaulted ceilings, getting that sense of airiness. Like I said, the original house had ceiling heights close to 3 meters, so that's a real dramatic effect as you come through the house. They wanted to maintain that sense of airiness, that sense of height as you come into the new extension. Now, most people want a completely open plan kitchen, dining, living space. That's great, but it comes at a cost. There's a lot of structural work that needs to go into that, and in this scenario, because the structural elements in the first floor was quite complicated, we tried to reduce the amount of structural work necessary but still give the client the sense of flow that they were looking for between the spaces. And that's why we actually maintained some of the rear original structural wall and just lowered the windowsill down to ground floor level to create a passageway through to the space, but it enabled us to keep that sense of connection, but also reduce the amount of structural work and reduce the amount of cost that would have been to the client. What we've also done to help reduce overheating within this scheme is actually create an overhang above the crittle rear windows and doors, again to stop some of the summer sun from penetrating through into the space and creating an overheated space. We had a hidden pantry, which you'll see later in the video. So that's the design. So this project was finished in 5 months. The only thing that wasn't finished after that time frame were the crittle windows to the rear. The lead time at the time of building was 16 weeks, and we had quite a lot of delays on the crittle windows. So as you can see with the schemes that we've put forward to our client, we've created a fantastic open plan kitchen, dining, living space with fantastic glazing out to the garden. We've got a huge island, a window above the kitchen sink, giving that viewpoint out to the garden as well. The existing dining space became a study nook, and the existing reception room became the sort of TV snug games room for the kids. A single-storey side extension allowed us to open up the existing store area to the side and create that utility space that the client needed for their kids and their dog. What we've created is a wonderfully light kitchen, dining, living space that is fantastic for entertaining guests. The undulating and vaulted roof areas make a really interesting feature as you come through from the existing really high ceilings in the existing part of the property into the new extensions. One thing that you won't know, unless you know it's there, is the hidden pantry, which is tucked away in the corner of the kitchen. So from the front of the kitchen, it looks like a normal kitchen door cupboard, but when you open it, you've got a really useful pantry space which has storage for all sorts of non-perishables, your coffee machine and all that other stuff that you don't want cluttering the rest of the worktop in the kitchen. Our clients absolutely love the final design. It's a fantastic open plan living space that they can use to entertain guests, keep an eye on the kids, keep all of the rubbish tucked away inside their utility, and basically thrive in this new property. So the clients came to us with a budget of £180,000. So the contract value, which is ultimately what the contract was with the contractor, was £160,000 plus VAT. So you're looking at £192,000 in total. And they spent between £40,000 and £50,000 on the kitchen, the finishes such as the tiled floor finishes, all the fittings like light fittings, and all of the client supply items that we would often segregate from the contractor's contract and give a bit more flexibility with the client to choose exactly what they want and know what they're paying for. So overall, the spend was between £240,000 and £250,000, including finishes and fittings, including all of the relevant consultancy fees, including VAT and everything clumped together. And having spoken to the clients, we know that this was money well spent because they've had recent valuations for the property, and the new extension has added a significant amount to not only the value of the property, but the wow factor and the saleability of the property. So if you want to see some other fantastic home transformations in South London, head over to more of our home tours in our YouTube channel here.